Recently, I made a video on bad hiking advice for seniors, covering 20 tidbits I've heard on the trail. I got the most pushback on 3 of them. The use of the insect repellent Permethrin, the use of a pee bottle, but here I did specify in your sleeping bag, and the use of trekking poles. Today, I'll tackle Permethrin. If you are considering using Permethrin, what do you need to know and do to ensure it's safe? If used incorrectly, Permethrin is not safe. If used correctly, then like anything else in modern life, it's a risk-benefit trade-off that for many people is worth it. Proper precautions minimize the risks with no reduction in benefits. Full disclosure, I don't use Permethrin, so I'm relying on several resources for this video, and the links are in the description. If you search online for Permethrin safety data, you'll come across 2 very different kinds, for industrial use and consumer use. Industrial use descriptions may give you a false sense of the risks involved. Industrial concentrations are around 36%, while the consumer product is around 0.5%. Many industrial data sheets assume workers are wearing full personal protective equipment, gloves, respirator, the works. If you're reading an industrial data sheet, you're looking for apples and finding oranges. Stick to the consumer product label and reputable consumer sources. The risk of contracting an insect-borne disease from any single bite is low. Like Russian roulette, any single pull of the trigger might be fine. If you're out there for a season pulling the trigger over and over, the math works against you. Eventually, the chamber isn't empty. It's not just Lyme disease. A doctor told me when treating a tick bites can be quite necrotic. I had never heard the word necrotic before, but the Greek root necro told me I didn't want to hear it about my body parts. A bite from an unaffected tick isn't always trivial. This matters for older hikers. Skin changes with age. Older skin is more permeable than younger skin. That matters for how you respond to repellents applied topically and for Permethrin exposure during application. Older hikers are more likely to be on medications. Permethrin has potential effects on the endocrine and nervous systems. That's the mechanism by which it kills insects. Those effects are weaker in humans, but if you're already managing a complex medication regimen, it's worth a conversation with your doctor or pharmacist before using Permethrin. Older immune systems are less robust in responding to tick-borne illness. Lyme disease, caught early and treated promptly, is often manageable. Late-stage or undiagnosed Lyme disease can be debilitating, and the recovery longer for older people. That's not a reason to panic. It is a reason to pay attention to what follows. Here are 6 common approaches, and each comes with its own risks. DEET is a powerful solvent. It will damage plastics, synthetic coatings, watch crystals, and certain fabrics. If you've got an expensive ultralight tint or tarp, DEET could compromise the material. Permethrin used properly is effective and bonds well to fabric, so it is a valid choice. Permethrin used carelessly carries major risks. Picaridin is generally considered the most gear-friendly of the synthetic options. It doesn't have DEET's aggressive solvent properties. Oil of lemon eucalyptus is a plant-based repellent the CDC recommends. It's worth noting it's not the same as plain lemon eucalyptus essential oil. It's a processed form with the active compound concentrated. It's not recommended for children under 3, and you'll need to reapply it more frequently than with DEET. If you go commando, no treatment at all, understand what you're choosing. You're accepting the full risk of insect bites with no mitigation. For a day hike in low-risk territory, that may be perfectly fine. For 5 months on the AT through the mid-Atlantic states during tick season, it's a different story. Unless you're hiking in long pants, long sleeves, and a bug net, Permethrin is not a complete solution. It protects treated fabric, not skin. If you're wearing shorts and short sleeves, you still need a repellent for your arms and legs. It's a synthetic compound modeled on a natural insecticide found in chrysanthemum flowers. It works by disrupting sodium channels in nerve cells, which kills insects effectively. Humans are far less sensitive to this mechanism than insects, which is the basis for its relative safety. Relative safety is not the same as no concern. It means the threshold is higher. Skin exposure to wet Permethrin is something you need to avoid because it's an endocrine disruptor and has real neurological effects, even if those effects are much weaker in us than it is in a tick. Clothing is the most common application for hikers, and it's where a lot of people make the first big mistake. The temptation to spray it on like bug spray directly onto your clothes while you're wearing them has to be resisted. You get skin exposure during such application, and you don't get even coverage. The correct method is to lay the clothes out on a flat surface for spraying. I suggest using cardboard that you can fold up and discard afterwards. Wear rubber gloves so when you handle the clothes you're not getting exposed. Hang your clothes up and let them dry completely before wearing them. Spray to the point of slight wetness, not soaking. Oversaturating doesn't improve effectiveness. Treat shoes and socks. They're a common path for ticks to get to you. A practical reality, most hikers don't carry a lot of clothing. If you're doing a through hike with 2 sets of clothes, you can't treat one set and immediately put it on. You need either loaner clothes, which hostels often provide, or you need to treat in stages so you can give each item time to dry before you wear it again. Treating your tint creates a perimeter barrier. Anything crawling across the tint fabric gets a lethal dose. The application method is the same as for clothes. Outdoors, laid flat, spray evenly, hang and let dry. The key point is that with a treated tint, you have a protected perimeter around you all night. The product label allows for treating sleeping bags, and it makes sense in a specific context. If you're camping in a treated tent, there's little reason to treat your sleeping bag. You're already in a protected environment. Treating a sleeping bag makes sense if you sleep in a shelter. On a trail like the Appalachian Trail, the 3-sided shelters are open to the environment. Mice are common and carry fleas and ticks. In that environment, a treated sleeping bag is a reasonable layer of protection. I'd be cautious with down sleeping bags for 2 reasons. First, down takes a long time to dry, beyond when the shell feels dry to the touch. Treat it the day before you need it. Leave it to air dry fully for longer than the label's minimum dry time. Don't rush it into the stuff sack the same day you treat it. Second, I'm not convinced it won't damage the down or the outer shell. Check with the bag's manufacturer first. If you have a cat, you need to know wet permethrin during and right after application is a high risk for cats. A breeze that helps drying can carry droplets across a wide area. A cat that wanders through that area or across the surface used for treating has significant exposure. A cat grooming after walking across a contaminated surface is enough to cause serious poisoning. Treat outdoors and keep the cat securely inside during the entire application and drying process and a little while afterwards, not just away from the gear. The contaminated zone during application is larger than just the item you're treating. Some say that once dried, it's safe around cats because the permethrin is bound to the fabric and no longer transferable. I'd be cautious about accepting that claim fully. Cats sleep on fabric, knead it, and groom themselves obsessively. The risk is reduced once dry, but not gone. Given how serious permethrin poisoning is for cats, keeping treated gear stored securely is the prudent approach. This is also relevant if you're reapplying on a through hike and you're treating gear at a hostel. Many trail hostels have resident cats. Be thoughtful about where you treat and where the gear dries. Permethrin is effective for roughly 6 weeks or launderings. A through hiker on the AT who takes 5 to 7 months needs to retreat 4 to 6 times during the hike. It needs to be done away from water sources and flowering plants since permethrin is highly toxic to aquatic invertebrates, fish, and honeybees. Find a parking lot or open field well away from water and pollinating flowers. The best approach is to treat on a 0 day in town. Treat in the morning, let everything air dry outside all day, and don't pack it until you're confident it's fully dry. Trying to treat your gear and pack up within a couple of hours to make miles is exactly the scenario where you end up exposed to wet permethrin. Permethrin evaporates slowly in high humidity. That's relevant in the southeast United States, especially in southern Appalachians. On a humid, overcast day, give yourself more time than you think you need. The risk from insect bites is real, especially for older hikers where thinner skin, medication interactions, and immune system changes all elevate the consequences. No options are risk-free. DEET has its concern. Permethrin used carelessly has real risks. Going commando accepts the full bite risk. The question isn't which option has 0 risk. It's which trade-offs make sense for your health and how you hike. The precautions aren't onerous. They require forethought to make them work. If you appreciate this content, please like, share, subscribe, and comment on this or other topics you'd like me to cover. And if you haven't seen this video, I recommend you take a look at it now. Thanks for watching.